Brian, just wanted to get your thoughts on what you saw from the four quarterbacks at the scrimmage, then also early this week.
Uh, yeah, the first scrimmage was pretty rough, I thought, for us as an offense as a whole. I thought the defense did a nice job. They got pressure on the quarterback. QB and receivers, it didn't feel like we had great timing in a lot of the routes. It was just it was sloppy in my opinion, and not up to our expectation. But without having a spring, I think you can tell those guys are a little bit ahead of us right now. But it was good to see us. I felt like we had our best practice offensively. Yesterday would have been Tuesday's practice. Felt like our guys bounced back. We cleaned up some of the details, and didn't kind of backed off some of the install. A lot of repeated stuff, teaching them some of the mistakes that we made, and it was great to see guys fix that stuff and executed a lot better yesterday. As far as the quarterbacks go, I think Tristan, he was in the scrimmage making some good decisions for us for the most part. There were some balls that he missed, that we'd like him to make. And some of those were, he had a guy maybe giving him a little bit of pressure and he had to slide off his mark, but those are the throws that he's going to have to make on game day. And we need him to be able to make for us. And I think he was frustrated a little bit because there were some opportunities there that he just didn't execute with the target or accuracy. But the quarterbacks as a whole, I thought managed it. We didn't turn the ball over, which was good to see in a first scrimmage. Chance Nolan, I like the way that he carries himself out there, plays with a lot of confidence. And right now I think he's swimming a little bit in some of the install. We threw a lot at him, and I think he's out there that first week and a half. He's repping it, a lot of those things kind of for the first and second time. And so he's just learning every time he gets out there. But I think when he does know what he's doing and he's comfortable with it, you can see some glimpses, and he showed us some spark there, moving the offense a little bit. Nick Moore, I think, showed some things where the pocket would break down, a little bit, and he made some plays with his feet to keep some drives alive. Those were some of the positives I can think about Nick. I think he's just, with him, we're trying to focus on him. If the first read's not there, staying in, trusting the protection, getting through his progression, in an area that he needs to improve at. And then Ben Goldbranson, I thought had a nice 2-minute drive, to start the scrimmage, and made some throws down the field that were pretty impressive for a freshman. Strong arm, can push the ball down the field. Really like that about Ben. And he's a freshman. Again, he's seeing a lot of this stuff, and defense is giving him different looks. And it's just been awesome learning experience for those new guys so far.
Brian, when would you like to have that number narrowed down? Coach Smith told us yesterday there just wasn't enough in the scrimmage to really separate anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we'll probably keep it like this, where we're kind of giving those guys equal reps, through this Saturday when we scrimmage again, and see if it kind of narrows. We can narrow it down a little bit from there. But I just, I didn't feel like any of the QBs really played great on Saturday, and I think it's just too early to tell right now. And that's one of those things, I think, not having spring football, we're just a little bit behind on some of that where we normally would be.
Ryan, even though you're playing all four of the quarterbacks with the ones, Tristan went into camp as the front runner. It would appear. What would it take for one of those other three to beat him out for the job?
I keep just preaching the word consistency, and a guy that goes in there, a guy that I trust to do what we're asking him to do when he gets out there on the field, with an understanding of the offense. And then a guy that can go out there and execute on a consistent basis and move the chains, make plays for us. And I think right now, Tristan probably is the leg up. Just he's comfortable with the system, and I really trust what he's going to do out there. And so I just think without spring, he's got a leg up, as far as that goes.
Brian, Coach Smith said the other day that there weren't any turnovers offensively. I know you said that the scrimmage in general was sloppy, but were there any other positive takeaways aside from the no turnovers that you saw from the scrimmage?
Yeah, I thought the operation was pretty clean. I think maybe I could think of one or two examples where maybe I think we had one false start and then one delay a game, but going out for the first scrimmage, rotating three groups through some new guys. We were in the stadium, had the play clock rolling. I thought the operation of changing personnel groups, getting lined up in the correct formations, all that stuff I thought was pretty clean for the first scrimmage. That and taking care of the football. And other than that, it was pretty sloppy though. I mean, we just didn't convert on enough third downs, didn't handle the pressure. Defense brought us some pressure stuff on us, and we didn't do a very good job of handling the pressure either in the run game or the pass game.
Coach, I wonder, do you still envision Coletto being an option for you in short yardage and goal line situations? And if so, how would you describe him as a weapon in those situations?
I think it's something that we're still discussing, as a staff. And I know that, he's playing really well on defense. I can say that as a linebacker. The thing I like about Jack is he was a quarterback when he originally came here. And so he spent a year and a half in our offensive system. So I'm pretty comfortable. He knows our snap counts. He's a guy I feel like I can trust if he's going to run the ball or make decisions for us in critical situations. So, but I think it's something that we're still discussing and kind of weighing how much he's going to play on defense and special teams. And then if we could use him again, but he's somebody I'd be fighting for sure.
Brian, we haven't heard much about Tyjon Lindsey during camp. Is he in the mix? Has he been playing well?
Yeah, no, Tyjon's doing well. I think he's a guy I like about him. We can move him in the slot. We can put him outside. I think, like I said, being in the system another year, I think he's more comfortable with doing that. And he's had flashes. I just think we've got a lot of depth. I feel like at receiver, a lot of talented players, and we've been kind of mixing those guys in between through the three groups. And he's flashed for sure. I think he's definitely in the mix and definitely a guy that you see as we start the season.
Brian, Coach Smith told us yesterday that, Zariah is on the path of being able to, potentially play as a true freshman, and he was part of a select few to do so. What have you seen from him just in the first week and a half, 2 weeks now that's just impressed you about him? And have you been surprised that he was able to pick up, the speed of the game and everything so quickly?
Yeah, I think that, it is really impressive that as a freshman, he's able to, we had a lot of time to meet during this, the last bunch of months, but being able to transition that stuff from the meeting room to the field has been pretty impressive. So Coach Henson and him have done a nice job. You can tell in that area. I think for him, it's the physicality. Like as a freshman, guys come up and press him. He's able to get off the press. He's able to win inside. He's able to, and then he's able to stretch the field a little bit vertically. So physically, he's ahead of a lot, where a lot of freshmen are typically. He's been a guy that we've cycled in with the first group at times, and he's made a bunch of plays for us. We're excited about him.
Brian, how do you envision divvying up the carries between Jamar and BJ? Will it be a lot like last year with AP, or a little bit heavier toward Jamar?
That's too early to tell. The thing I like is that we've got two good backs that I think Coach Petrie and I feel, and Coach Michalczik feel super comfortable with, and I think each has their strengths and certain run schemes that they do maybe a little bit better than others. And I think as we get into game planning, it'll change week to week. And then I know that Coach Petrie, we kind of like to ride the hot hand. Someone gets in there and they feel like they've got a good feel for what, the scheme and how they're hitting blocks and they get hot, then we kind of stick with one back. But I feel really comfortable with both those guys. I think they're really good, good players, and both of them have improved out of the backfield, catching the ball and doing some things for us in the pass game that way. So I think you'll see both, and it'll be on a weekly basis, and we'll see how it rolls.
Well, Jim, just kind of start out, just over just an overview of what you've been seeing so far after 11 days of practice with your linemen. Just some general thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's you know, the one benefit of having all this time with the Zoom meetings, and you know, the negative was we couldn't practice, but the benefit was we were able to do a lot of football talk. You know, kind of take guys further in learning the game of football, not just exactly what they have to do. The negative part to it is, you know, understanding something and being able to think through it is a whole lot different than being able to do it under stress at the line of scrimmage. And so I think camp's been really good for us to get back to doing those things. You know, the first day in pads is almost a year since we'd been really able to go. And I like this group. I like the work ethic. I like the development. I'm still not sure who's, you know, who the starting five is, who the next five is yet. I think we got a lot of competition. We got some guys that give us some flexibility to move around. And so I think just, you know, the big thing is we just got to keep getting better every day.
How close are you to figuring out a starting five?
You know, I really don't even want to worry about it till the end of this week, to be honest with you. Today I was able to kind of just take guys and move them to other sides and move them to other positions and just kind of try and see where we're at. We still have some time before the first game. You know, that week before the first game, it needs to be dialed in. Right now we need to be kind of testing and trying things out and putting guys and seeing where they fit best.
Is it fair to say Brandon Kippers probably set at right tackle, and then at left tackle, how many guys are up for that spot?
You know, there's some guys that are doing really well. You know me, I'm not gonna, you know, at the end of the day, I gotta get the best five on the field. I think Kip's having a really good camp. I think his maturity is doing very well. I think Joshua Gray's doing very well. I think, you know, I got Nate Eldridge, who is having a good camp, along with Noose Keelbunum and Jake Levengood. Those guys, just every day, it's kind of fun to get those guys out there. You know, and some of those guys have been bouncing with the twos. And so, again, we're just going to try to see who the five are. There's some other guys that are pushing into that group, and we got to get the best guys in the best spots.
How has Montalban looked after a year off?
You know, good. You kind of forget he had the year off with the injury. Good. I think there's a little bit of, when you first come back and anytime you come back from an injury like that, you know, there's a little bit of, I always say there's two types of the healing. You know, there's the physical healing, and then there's the mental healing of having confidence in the injury. And I think he's done a good job, and especially as camp's gone on, and just need to keep, with a lot of our guys, just need to keep getting more aggressive, more of an attack mentality, and less of a little react mentality, if that makes sense.
Just again, not knowing who's going to play out there, but whatever you end up with, how does this line look different than a year ago? I know you lost all of the experience, but just otherwise, how will it look different?
Well, that's the big thing. You kind of hit on the head. You had experience. You had a lot of game time, and you know, those guys that had game time, they understand that the practice, you know, they're getting ready to play a game. And when you have younger guys or guys that haven't played as much, you know, they're trying to do well in practice, but they're not, you know, you got to focus them in that this is the game, and we're going to play the game on the practice field, and we're going to prepare for everything on the practice field. You know, you lose a lot of starts with Blake and Gus. You know, that's a lot of experience, a lot of leadership. I like where the guys are going. We just got to get to that point with the rest of the guys.
What have you seen out of Corbin so far? How do you see him kind of fitting into that mix?
You know, he's doing good. You know, he's doing real good. It's a little bit of a change because we moved him inside to guard. You know, he's kind of battling in there. You know, there's some fundamental things that I think he's getting better at every day. And, you know, it's really, you know, you don't want to say, like I tell the linemen, none of them were born linemen. You know, they're all self-made. And the thing we want to do is get better every day and keep doing that all the way through the season, and then we'll be a dang good line. And so I think Corbin's got the right attitude, the right mentality, the work ethic, the toughness, the competitiveness. He's physically a guy. It's getting comfortable in the system and cutting it loose.
Do you think his versatility could kind of make him super valuable to you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying not to move him too much. We're kind of flipping him sides, but keeping him inside right now. But he could jump out. That's, in this year, I think more than any other, I've going into a season, I've had to say, okay, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And so we have to have a lot of position flexibility here, guys being able to move and play a lot of spots. And so we're putting more on them. But at the same time, I think we got a good group of guys that can handle it.
Coach, you this is year 3 under you. How is this year's line, now that it's more kind of in your vision, different than maybe when you came in 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think when I think everything's a learning process, everything in life. And, when we go do a drill or we're working a technique, the young guys, the new guys are still learning everything, but I really think the older guys are coaching them as much as anything. And they're able to we're all saying the same things, the same ways. And it's kind of a joy, I think the understanding of the whole offense, X and O wise, we're way ahead of where we've ever been. Now we got to get good at executing it. And so that's why we're practicing. It's fun as heck to be back on the football field, and we just got to keep working hard every day.
Who would you say is your most versatile lineman, a guy that could play virtually any of the 5 spots?
Well, Noose Keobunam, he's played 3 of them. Jake Levengood could probably play all 5 of them. We're trying not to do that too much. We're trying to keep them in 1-2 spots. But we've kind of rotated some guys through there a bunch. I got a lot of guys that can play guard and tackle, or center guard or center tackle. And, I got to be careful because I got to get their best out of them, not just keep moving them around all the time.
Hey, BJ, how are you feeling now that you're, a week and a half into camp? How's your body holding up?
I'm feeling good. I had a little hamstring injury, but I'm getting back into flow with the offense and stuff. So I'm feeling good now.
BJ, do you feel like this coming season it's going to look a lot like it did last year with Jamar and AP? It's going to be you and Jamar kind of sharing the load in the backfield?
As of right now, I really don't know. I can't really answer that. But however the Coach Lindgren do the play calling, and however Coach Preachy divide us up, I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, BJ, talk a little bit about some of the young guys. Isaiah, Tyjon, how are they fitting in with the group, developing?
Tyjon and Isaiah, they really good backs. They still learning the offense a little bit, and I've been teaching them, and they've been learning from me and Munch and Calvin about like how to run and how to read the defense and stuff like that. So they pretty good. They're gonna be a good back in the future.
BJ, what did you feel like you needed to add to your game this season from a year ago?
Really everything to me, everything. I need to work on everything.
Was there one thing specifically though that you felt like you really need to make a jump on?
Pass pro and reading like the defenses of how we run inside zone and outside zone. Because we switched it from reading 1 to 2 to gaps. So now I got to learn how to read the gaps. So I got to keep working on that.
No questions?
I'll go. Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
Just lots of questions with the O-line replacing 3 starters from last year. You're the veteran there. Talk about how the new guys are looking, or the new guys that will be playing.
I mean, yeah, we're replacing some experience. Obviously, O-line is one of those special positions that really age and experience and physical development, along with mental development, are all very, very key. So I think that this past week, 2 weeks, and the scrimmage on Saturday have been great for those young guys to get some of that like full go, that live experience without having spring ball. It was obviously they haven't got that yet. So I think they're coming along pretty good, but I think we also, as a group and as an entirety, including myself, we all have a long ways to go. I think you can improve every day until the day you die. So I definitely think that they're coming along, but we got to keep moving. One and done.
Brandon, is there a young guy or two that's caught your eye along the offensive line?
I mean, I think there's a lot of guys who are going out there every day with the intent to improve, to get better. I mean, Joshua Gray is a guy who getting thrown out there at that left tackle side, and obviously we replacing a lot of experience over there, but has really fit in really well and playing it really naturally, picking up on things pretty quickly. I mean, Jake Levingood's a guy who gets moved around from center to guard to tackle and embraces it all, and he knows his stuff. He goes out there, he's confident in his play, getting stronger in the weight room. All around, I think the young guys are all improving. Obviously, with there only being 5 guys that can play at a time, some guys are going to get a few more reps than other guys. So there's a couple guys, Josh and Jake, who are going to get a few more reps. But, I think that all of them are improving quite a bit.
Outside of the experience factor, all the experience you lost, how is this line as a whole different than a year ago? Is it more athletic? Is it stronger? Or is there anything in particular it might be a little better at it as a whole?
Honestly, I think we're more confident than we were last year. I think another year in this system. I mean, even for those young guys who didn't play, it's another year of sitting through those meetings and watching the older guys make mistakes and make good plays and getting to learn from that. So I think honestly, it's a more confident offensive line in our assignments. Now we got to go out there and execute on our fundamentals and our technique. But I think definitely the difference between this year and last year is just the ability to go out there and not necessarily have to think, just immediately be able to do. I thought it was something we got really good at towards the end of the year last year, but I'm pretty impressed with how these guys have been able to take on these Zoom meetings and with as complex of our system as it is, and really learn and try to understand and seek understanding. It's I definitely feel a lot better, a lot more confident, and not just myself, but in the guy I'm standing next to as well. And I think the same can be said for everybody.
How much of a benefit has it been to go up against a defensive front that appears to be so much better than 2 years ago or even a year ago? How's it benefited you guys?
I mean, you cannot replace a great look on defense. There's nothing that is going to make Saturdays easier than Monday through Friday being absolutely hell. So I think our defensive front, just them getting more confident in their scheme, them getting stronger in the weight room, them getting more physical, more aggressive. I think all around it makes us better. Every day you got to show up and you got to bring your A game because they're going to. At the same time, it exposes guys who aren't necessarily picking up on things, who aren't necessarily going through the correct thought process, who don't know their stuff. It exposes them, and that's good. It's something important that we need to see in film. It's something important that guy needs to experience, because once you get exposed, you know what you need to do, because you're not going to want to get exposed again. So I think our D-line getting better only makes us better. I think our defense as a whole has gotten so much better, and it forces us to be a better unit as a whole.
Who on that D-line really has brought it during fall camp?
Oh, I mean, all of them. I'll be honest with you, I can't – all of them. I go out there. Obviously I take majority of the one rep, so I'm seeing a lot of the same guys. But, I mean, Isaac Hodgins is the guy who impressed last year, impressed the year before that, and he continues to impress and he continues to improve. His work ethic is unmatched. Simon Sandberg's a guy who I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year, who really shows up every day. One of my closest friends, so I know exactly how hard that man works. And we have a joke. He's a robot. He's part Terminator, and it's not a joke. I mean, he has a desire to get great, to be great, and to work at it. I mean, it's not just the D-line too, the outside backer group as a whole, a lot of depth in that group. They're all showing up. They're all improving, pass rush and run, getting stronger. So, I mean, that D-line and that outside backer group is a great front. Yeah.
How would you evaluate the quarterback competition right now? And is anyone starting to gain any distance over the other?
My back's to the quarterback the majority of the time, so I can't answer that. They're all doing great as far as I know. The ball always seems to go over my head, so that's all I need to know about.
With Sandberg, is there anything that you've seen him kind of like drastically improve since last year, or this makes him tougher to go up against?
I mean, I can't. thing is, when you're playing O-line, if you're going out there and you're thinking about what's this guy going to do, what's that guy going to do, how's he doing this, you're going to be screwed. So when I go out there, I'm not necessarily evaluating Simon. I'm not necessarily evaluating. I'm going out there, I recognize who it is, and then I get down on my stance and I do my thing. So I'd say all around his game's just improved, his run game, his pass game. Yeah, I mean, I think as a whole, our defensive line and the defensive scheme has gotten a much better pass rush, which is something that's been great for us to really work on. It's really forced us to get great at pass protection, at the mental aspect of it, at the physical aspect of it. So, I mean, yeah, Simon and Hodge, I think that they both really improved in their pass game, but I could say the same thing about their run game too.
Brandon, obviously your back is to the running backs as well, but can you tell the difference when Jamar or BJ is out there blocking for them?
When they're trying to talk to me to tell me if they're going to give me a chip or not. I mean, they're both amazing backs. Obviously, they have different styles. I mean, everybody as a player has a different style than somebody else. But, I mean, they're both making explosive plays in the run game. They're both picking up pass protections. We work a lot on communicating with the backs, going through meetings, watching film together, and really going through that thought process together. So I think both of them are on the same page with me. So I truly, when I'm out there, it's kind of seamless. I don't have to worry. Is it Munchie? Is it BJ? I go out there and I'm confident either one of them being out there. I think they've both improved in their game. I think they both have a lot more to improve. But no, I can't necessarily tell when it's one player or another unless I see their number because they blew past me.
Luke, what did you feel like you got out of your freshman year? What did you most learn?
I think just experience of just how fast the game is, being able to get a little bit of playing time in some 13 personnel and on special teams. It's just it just gave me kind of a good path as to what college football is all about.
How does your game differ from Tegan's, your style of play?
Oh, I think we all have different styles of play. Tegan, then there's no one style of play is better. Tegan he's all around a great guy, a great tight end, amazing blocker. I don't know if I'll ever be able to be that good at blocking, but I think overall my style of play, I tend to like to run routes more, but I'm getting better at blocking. That's kind of the aspect of my game that's come the furthest, I think, since being here. But overall, it's just we all have different styles of play, and it just depends on who you are and what you've been doing for the longest, I think.
Hey, Luke, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who is the toughest guy on defense, or couple guys that you have seen the past couple of weeks?
You're saying to block?
To block, yep. To go up against on defense.
Oh, I mean, our whole defense is great. There's a bunch of guys that are hard to block. I think the whole outside linebackers, those are kind of the guys that the tight ends block the most consistently. I can't really know if I can pick out one or a few, but I think that whole depth chart, they got a lot of great guys that we block, and a lot of DNs that we block. They're all difficult to block. So overall, it's really quite equal, and it just depends on what the play is and what the situation is, to be honest.